The man was shocked to see that the pilot next to him was asleep. The plane kept climbing high into the sky, reaching 10,000 meters. He tried to wake the pilot, but soon realized the man was no longer breathing. When he looked at the dashboard full of buttons and gauges, he suddenly understood he didn't know how to fly a plane. He glanced at his wife and daughter behind him. They had no idea they were in danger. He didn't want to scare them, so he forced himself to stay calm and contacted the control center. But his call for help was overheard by his wife. She nervously crawled into the cockpit and froze at the sight. As a doctor, she wanted to perform CPR on the captain. In a rush, she unbuckled her seatbelt, but the captain's body was pressing on the control stick. The plane immediately lost control and started falling fast, heading straight toward the ground. Thankfully, the man quickly pulled the captain off the controls. The plane didn't crash. Then, with help from their older daughter, his wife moved the captain to the cabin. After that, the autopilot system turned on, and the plane slowly returned to level flight. However, the biggest problem remained: how to land the plane safely. The man pulled himself together and contacted air traffic control again, but the news he got was bad. The plane was still climbing and had already reached a terrifying height of 9 kilometers. If it went any higher, they would run out of oxygen and suffocate. His wife looked at him with hopeless eyes. He refused to wait for death. Against the staff's warnings, he turned off the autopilot, but the dashboard was overwhelming. He didn't know what to do. The control center quickly cleared all nearby air traffic. They guided him to pull back the control stick. The plane began to descend. Once it dropped to 5 kilometers, they told him to turn west. When the flight finally stabilized, the man let out a long breath. But what he didn't know was that the plane was flying farther away from the main airport. To keep everyone safe, the tower had told him to land at a remote airport. Even if something went wrong, the damage would be limited. What no one expected was that a massive air current was approaching from the west. If he didn't land before the storm hit, his family would likely crash into the ocean. Luckily, the man reached the airport just in time. He lowered the landing gear and activated the drag system to prepare for a smooth landing. But as the plane got closer to the ground, the more he tried to control it, the more the plane tilted. He couldn't line it up with the runway. The plane began to fall sideways, and the alarms started blaring. For the first time, the man truly felt the fear of death. Panicked, he pulled the control stick hard and lifted the plane back into the air. His first attempt at landing had failed, and it almost ended in disaster. But things got even worse. The storm hit head-on. Black clouds and lightning filled the sky. It looked like the end of the world. The man knew they might not make it. Even worse, strong winds began to break their connection with the ground. Do you think the man could still land the plane safely?